What 100 days of extreme dehydration does to your kidneys is a slow-motion biological car crash that begins with a simple thirst and ends with your internal organs effectively petrifying into useless stones. You might think you just feel a bit parched, like after a long hike without a water bottle, but your body isn't a passive canteen. It is a high-pressure chemical plant. When the supply of water drops to near zero, the plant doesn't just shut down. It starts cannibalizing itself to keep the lights on. Most people assume the danger of dehydration is just drying out, like a piece of fruit left in the sun. But the reality is much more violent. By day 40, your blood has the consistency of pancake syrup, and your kidneys are screaming. To understand how a human survives or fails to survive this ordeal, we have to look at the body as a complex plumbing system that is rapidly running out of coolant. On day 1, you feel fine, maybe a little cranky. Your brain sends a signal to your hypothalamus, triggering the thirst center. It's annoying, but manageable. You think, I can handle this. But inside, the panic has already started. Your pituitary gland releases vasopressin, also known as anti-diuretic hormone. This is your body's first line of defense. It tells your kidneys, stop, do not let a single drop of water leave this building. By day 3, your urine isn't just yellow, it's the color of a dark amber ale. It's thick, it's pungent. This is because your kidneys are working overtime to reabsorb every microliter of water, leaving behind a hyper-concentrated sludge of urea and toxins. Imagine your kidneys are two high-tech filters trying to clean a swimming pool, but someone has replaced the water with wet sand. By the end of the first week, the honeymoon phase is over. You've lost about 3% to 5% of your body weight in water alone. Your skin loses its turgor. If you pinch the back of your hand, the skin stays up like a little tent instead of snapping back. You feel dizzy because your blood volume is dropping. Think of your veins like a garden hose. When the water pressure drops, the hose goes limp. Your heart has to beat faster just to keep the pressure high enough to reach your brain. If you've ever felt that lightheaded head rush when standing up, imagine that being your entire existence. If you've ever wondered why the first glass of water after a workout feels so good, like this video, because your body is literally celebrating a temporary stay of execution. To understand what happens next, I read through over 40 clinical case studies on desert survival and renal pathology, so you don't have to. What I found is a phenomenon called metabolic water. Your body is so desperate for moisture that it starts breaking down its own fat and muscle tissue to harvest the hydrogen and oxygen hidden inside. But there's a catch, a brutal biological tax. For every gram of fat you burn to get a tiny squirt of water, your body produces metabolic waste that requires, you guessed it, more water to flush out. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing bags of dry flour on it. You might smother a spark, but you're creating a massive dusty mess. By day 20, we enter the shift. Your kidneys are no longer just filtering, they are struggling to stay alive. Usually, your kidneys receive about 20% of your heart's total blood output. They are the most expensive organs to maintain in terms of blood flow. But as your blood thickens, the friction increases. Your heart is now trying to pump motor oil through a coffee filter. The delicate structures inside your kidneys, called nephrons, begin to overheat. Without enough water to dilute the salts and minerals passing through them, tiny crystals start to form. These aren't just kidney stones, though those are coming. These are microscopic shards of calcium and uric acid tearing at the soft tissue of your renal tubules. Your body is now running hot. Every breath you take exhales precious moisture, and every beat of your heart is a struggle against the thickening sludge in your veins. Your liver is running out of processing power because it can't dump its chemical trash into the bloodstream. The blood is already full. By day 60, we have reached the breaking point. This is the crash. In clinical terms, this is stage 4 or 5 chronic kidney disease induced by acute trauma. But let's call it what it feels like: internal petrification. Your kidneys have a very specific job. They balance electrolytes like potassium, sodium, and magnesium. When the water disappears, the concentration of potassium in your blood spikes. Potassium is essential for muscle contraction, but in high doses, it's a lethal poison. It messes with the electrical signals in your heart. You start to feel palpitations. Your heart skips beats, thumping against your ribs like a trapped bird. By day 75, the psychological breakdown is complete. Your brain is literally shrinking. As it loses water, the brain pulls away from the internal walls of the skull, stretching the connecting membranes and causing a constant blinding migraine. You are hallucinating. You see shimmering pools of water on the horizon of your bedroom floor. You might even start to feel wet sensations on your skin that aren't there. A cruel trick played by a nervous system that is misfiring as its salt balance goes haywire. But the real horror is happening in your mid-back. Your kidneys have stopped producing urine entirely. This is anuria. Because there is no fluid moving through the system, the waste products that should be in the toilet are now backing up into your tissues. Your breath smells like ammonia, literally like window cleaner, because the urea is being excreted through your lungs and skin instead of your bladder. Imagine your kidneys are now like a sponge that has been left in the sun for a month. They're hard, shriveled, and scarred. The cells that line the filtration units are dying off in a process called acute tubular necrosis. They're sloughing off and clogging the very pipes they're supposed to be cleaning. You are essentially being poisoned from the inside out by your own DNA's trash. Before we see if you survive day 90, hit subscribe to keep your own organs functioning. If you somehow make it to day 100, perhaps through tiny, agonizingly small sips of moisture that barely kept you on the edge of the abyss, the you that comes out the other side is permanently broken. The human body is resilient, but it isn't magic. By day 100, the running hot metaphor ends in a total meltdown. Your kidneys are no longer filters, they're just lumps of scar tissue. Even if you were suddenly dropped into a pool of fresh water, your body couldn't process it. Your cells would swell and burst from the sudden change in osmotic pressure, a condition called refeeding syndrome, but for hydration. Your brain would swell against your skull, causing seizures and permanent neurological damage. The aftermath is a life tethered to a dialysis machine. For 4 hours a day, 3 times a week, a giant mechanical pump will have to do what your shriveled kidneys can no longer do. Manually pull the toxins from your blood so you don't die of a heart attack by Tuesday. Your bones will become brittle because your kidneys no longer activate vitamin D. Your blood will become anemic and thin because your kidneys stopped producing the hormone that tells your bone marrow to make red blood cells.
The lesson here is a grim one. The human body is a masterpiece of engineering, but it was designed to run on a constant flowing river of life. We are essentially walking, talking bags of salty ocean water. When you remove the ocean, the machine doesn't just stop, it grinds itself into dust. We spend our lives worrying about heart disease or cancer, but the most immediate threat to your existence is the silent, steady work of the 2 bean-shaped organs in your back. They are the gatekeepers of your blood, and they require a tribute of water every single day. So, after hearing about the agonizing petrification of the human kidney, how much water have you actually drank today? Does your lower back feel a little tight, or is that just your imagination? Let me know in the comments if you're reaching for a glass right now, or if you've ever felt the pinch test on your own skin. Would you like me to simulate what happens to your brain if you drink too much water and your cells begin to explode from the inside out?